What's going on, guys? I just recorded this whole entire video without my mic on, and alright, man, I can't believe I just did that mistake, man. But beside the point, happy Tuesday. Let's get right into some music news we got here on The Doc. Starting off here, we got rapper Gucci Mane, who was recently, released from jail around the end of last year, and he has, been dropping steady things. Like he dropped a couple mixtape, he dropped that Christmas album during the Christmas season, stuff like that. The what was it, Eastland, the rapper, or whatever it's called. But he is back here dropping something that is a little bit, not so much a mixtape, really not even at all. So the story goes, as he was in prison, he actually started, writing an autobiography of himself. He started to write his life story and how he has overcome trials and tribulations and has risen above everything else and has come up victorious, and he actually is going to make it into an actual real biography. And as far as we can all tell, the autobiography is pretty much done here at this point, and he even took to Twitter to fully announce the artwork and the actual cover of the actual autobiography. Now in the Twitter post, he also said that quote, "I am an author now," which is kind of funny because like to lump himself in the categories of authors now amongst the names of like J.K. Rowling and all these other artists and all these other writers and stuff like that. It is pretty funny to see, but technically I guess at this point, yeah, he is an author now. I guess we can all call him an author as well. Put it on his Wikipedia page, whoever does his Wikipedia page. And I guess, yeah, I mean, he did write a book, so I guess now Gucci Mane is also an author. Now, a spokesperson for the publisher of this actual autobiography is, saying all these aggrandized words, saying that, Gucci Mane is inspirational, he changed American music and stuff like that, and he is an icon and all this other stuff. I feel really just to publicize the book and really, give a lot of support for this upcoming novel here, this book. But, whether you agree with that or not, you can soon be able to buy Gucci Mane's autobiography, and make sure, next time you're in Barnes & Noble, next time, you're, in the book section of whatever store you frequent, make sure to find that book, and if you're interested. Next up here, what has dominated, all of XXL, all of Twitter as of the past few days is Drake's More Life. Now, this streak of him breaking records is nothing new, and we have more records to add on to his accolades. Drake has broken the Spotify single-day streaming numbers for 76 million streams of More Life, and that beats out the other held spot for that title at 68 million streams overall. And that is a huge accomplishment here. It is obvious here that Drake is again on his record-breaking streak. He's not going to stop, and he has more accolades to even count for that. And again, those numbers are just speaking on terms of Spotify. That is only on Spotify. If we go on to Apple Music numbers, he actually broke the single-day streaming record of 89.9 million streams in a single day for More Life, and that is absolutely insurmountable. Like, that 89.9 million, that is so crazy. And he has beaten that, and he beat that against the same person, Mr. Ed Sheeran, in the second place spot, holding an undisclosed number. I don't know what it was, but that number is undisclosed, and Drake has beat that with 89.9 million single-day streams. However, if we look at the week, right, if we look at a 7-day period, Drake clocked in at 300 million streams as opposed to Mr. Ed Sheeran, who got 385 million streams. So Drake didn't beat him there over the week, but in a single day over the hype, obviously Drake wins with More Life and beat the record for the single-day streams on Spotify and Apple Music, which is a insurmountable thing. It truly is, shows that Drake pays attention to the streaming. Like, Drake, is having kind of overall focus with it being called a playlist. I went into more in depth on this on my More Life review. Make sure to go check that out. But just to give a quick synopsis here, Drake is really honing in on the streaming culture where we don't really measure artists' sales anymore based solely off of album sales. That has gone away as of recent years. We have been overall evolving industry and getting away from the album sale and going on to streaming numbers, like streaming figures. How many streams is the song getting? How many streams is his album getting? And that is being translated into sales. So definitely here, Drake is honing in on that with this project, and it has proven successful. Next up here, the album that I am reviewing this week is Rick Ross's Rather You Than Me, and it is getting critical acclaim. A lot of people are loving the album. A lot of people are feeling the vibe of it, and even some people are even saying that, you know, Rick Ross has a Biggie mentality in this project, which I don't even know why anyone would even, you know, try and compare Biggie and a rapper of today. You know, not, you know, just to say in terms of if someone's bad, but in terms of the legacy, really, like, you know, just the overall, you know, legacy that Biggie left behind. But beside the point, we got some interesting news here revolving Rick Ross's next album. You know, any sane person would believe that there's no way that Rick Ross is, you know, further along in this new album. Like, there's no way that, you know, after just putting out Right You Than Me, that he's already further along on his next album. But actually, he is further along than you might think. He took a second to doing a radio interview, and he was talking about his latest release and his next release even, and he even dropped the title for his next album. It's going to be called Port of Miami 2 Born to Kill, and it's meant to be a sequel to his debut album that debuted over 10 years ago. And this is basically a 10 years in the making sequel, and he feels that, you know, like, he feels that this is the right time to drop the sequel to this album, and he's ready to do it, and he's ready to do it. Potentially, we could get this year, theoretically. Like, if he already has a title, if he already has, you know, just all this concept ready to go, he could feasibly drop it this year at the end of the year 2017. Maybe we can get a double release here this year. Who knows? We'll see what happens, and make sure to keep it locked here on the channel, and I will definitely inform you guys on new information that comes out off of Port of Miami 2 Born to Kill. Next up, speaking of streaming, speaking of, you know, album sales, everything along those lines, we're going to talk about some new Spotify changes that are coming here in the coming months. Now, you know, to look at the big three here, we have Tidal, Apple Music, and Spotify, right? Now, you know, as far as I know, Tidal doesn't have a free streaming, you know, tier. Now, there's Apple Music. Like, you have to pay for Apple Music to get the full capabilities, and, you know, be able to get exclusive songs on Apple Music and, you know, exclusive albums, stuff like that. You have to be a paid subscriber as well as Tidal. But in terms of Spotify, there is a free tier. Like, there's a free tier that's ad supported, and you can, you know, access any and all the songs on the service. You know, you just have ads baked in every, I think, 5 songs, or, you know, like however long it goes. But you know, Spotify is looking to change that free tier and potentially, you know, kind of steer people away from that free tier. And that same tier has gotten tons of, you know, backlash from artists and the industry overall, you know, in terms against Spotify with them offering this free tier, saying that, you know, how would you, you know, you just basically, you know, there's just a level of disrespect, I feel, maybe, and there's maybe a level of, I guess, I don't know, like, it's good for the consumer, obviously, but plenty of people in the industry have gotten plenty of backlash and their voices heard through Spotify, and they maybe are here set to change this. Spotify will be looking into opening exclusive deals for new releases in the coming months, you know, through Spotify, and they will only be, you know, having these, you know, albums and releases and stuff like that in the paid tiers of Spotify. So let's say maybe Spotify partners with, I don't know, Jhené Aiko, right? And Jhené Aiko, you know, wants to exclusively put out her album on Spotify, right? And, you know, with that exclusivity, you will only be able to access it if you are a paid subscriber. And that is basically the model that Apple Music use and Tidal use. And I feel that this is incredibly smart, because I feel in a lot of ways that is how Apple Music rose to fame. Like, I, you know, became an Apple Music subscriber because I heard that Drake was going to exclusively release Views on Apple Music, and I did not want to wait on that. I did not want to wait for a 2-week thing for it to come on any other streaming service, and I quickly became an Apple Music subscriber, right? And so that really does incentivize people to, you know, go the extra mile and, you know, choose a tier that is a paid subscription, and really does grow the service. And also, I feel, you know, I don't have any raw numbers to back this up, whatever, but of course, if I am, you know, paying into the service, I assume and hope that the artist is getting reimbursed in that same way. And I, you know, kind of assume here that if I'm, you know, paying, you know, $10 a month or whatever, some of that is going to the artist. And if I was on a free tier like Spotify, I don't think that I could produce enough ad revenue off of the amount of time I'm streaming songs to, you know, better kind of allocate that money that they make off of me seeing ads to go directly to the artist. And you know, I hope that, you know, my Apple Music service subscription is getting, you know, potentially directly allocated to artists that I enjoy. I don't know that, but, you know, beside the point, Spotify is looking to do some of this stuff, and, you know, we see the same thing with Tidal here. You know, like with Tidal, they released Beyonce's latest album, Lemonade, exclusively on Tidal as well for a few weeks. So there we go. Like, it's the same type of formula here, and Spotify is looking to copy that model, and I hope that it breeds good things. And the last thing here on the dock is Kendrick Lamar, K. Dot, the savior, whatever you want to call him. And Kendrick Lamar took a little bit of time off the weekend to release a new single off of his latest album. The single is called The Heart Part 4, and listen guys, to be frankly here, to be honest, to be absolutely real with you guys, I have not heard the song yet. I know I'm crazy. I know it's a horrible thing to say publicly, horrible thing to admit publicly. However, I had a pretty busy weekend this weekend. You know, I had a lot of things going on, and I just did not have the time with school and stuff like that to really carve out a little bit of time to listen to The Hard Part 4. But I have heard plenty of good things about it. I've heard people that, you know, really don't like Kendrick Lamar hear this single and absolutely love the single. So I definitely am, you know, just under the complete, you know, just assumption that this album and this song is absolutely amazing. And, you know, the interesting part here is that Kendrick Lamar posted the artwork of this single on his Instagram and said a few things that could be leading to a potential release date for his next album. Now, we don't have a title, we don't have, you know, a name, we don't have anything really in terms of raw information on the next album, but what we do have here is Kendrick Lamar saying, quote, "Y'all got till April the 7th to get your shit together," unquote, which I'm thinking, obviously, if he's honing in on a date, this potentially is the official release date for Kendrick Lamar's third album. Well, I say fourth, third studio album. And this is insane, guys. This is crazy because April 7th is so close. I believe, you know, hold on, I think April 1st is Friday. So we are potentially 2 weeks out from a Kendrick Lamar project, which is absolutely insane. And if you guys follow the channel, you know, you guys know that I reported on the alleged, I mean, not even alleged, really, like the actual factual premise of this album that Kendrick Lamar went into in an interview, and he said that, you know, if To Pimp a Butterfly was him laying out the problems, this next album is going to be the answers. And this is an album that he feels, again, that we reiterated on the channel, that, you know, that it is something that is urgent. It is something that is needed in society right now. And I am so hyped for Kendrick Lamar to drop. Please do it soon. And of course, expect a review on the channel. I know, guys, kind of a short episode, but that is all I got for today. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and that's right down below. I appreciate all the feedback, all the support you guys give me. Thanks for watching, and as always, I got you.